our 1992 championship tournament at Cherry Hill Lanes in Dearborn Heights, paying out $15,400 in prize money with $3,000 in cash, along with the title, going to first place today. The field has been reduced to 5 bowlers. Let's meet them, Lee.
Thanks, Larry. In the number 5 spot today, we have Mike Torsia from Southgate, who averaged 209. Mike has 1 title to his credit. He'll be bowling Dan Ottman from Troy, who averaged 208, and Dan also has 1 title to his credit. The winner of that match will then meet Ken Wyatt from Warren, who averaged 211. Ken is a 4-time titleist. The winner of that match then goes on to meet Jeff DeCover from Grand Rapids, who averaged 217. Jeff has no titles yet to his credit. And then the winner of that match will then meet our tournament leader, Lou Ivanchik from Detroit, who averaged 211.
Coming up, Mike Torsia and Dan Ottman in our first of 4 television matches. Don't go away. On the right of your screen, 28-year-old Mike Torsia from Southgate, Michigan. And the gentleman who just took his seat to the left of Mike is Dan Ottman from Troy, Michigan, and one of the board members of the Michigan Majors Bowling Association. I might mention the same Dan Ottman that we refer to throughout our broadcast, reminding you that he brings you the Michigan Bowling News segment of our telecasts.
Well, Dan's schedule this year has allowed him to participate more than what he has in the past, and it showed, this being his second show in just a few months, so Dan's bowling pretty well.
Mike Torsia converting a spare in the first frame to get this our first of 4 televised matches underway. Our annual championship tournament, as we mentioned at the top of the show, our silver anniversary, our 25th championship tournament event. Dan Ottman out of the gate with a strike. Dan,
very good looking shot too. I think he was a little nervous the first time he was on TV a couple of months ago, but very loose on that shot. Really stroked the ball well.
13 years competing with the Michigan Majors, and in September of this year, he finally made our television finals.
Went a little wide in that shot, and the ball came in real late, leaving a half 10. With 4 of the 5 bowlers that we're going to see today, 4 of them are pretty straight players, with one exception, that being Jeff DeCover, who we'll see in the semifinal match. Jeff kind of leaves it all behind and just throws it.
Dan, I mentioned, made our television finals in September when we were at Monitor Lanes in Bay City, and he did not win his television match, but he, as he said, now that I have a taste of it under TV on the lights, he says, I'm going to be back.
Yep.
And
back he is.
He sure is. Mike earned his title earlier this year at the beginning of our season. I'm sure you'll recall that match, Lee.
Yeah,
in Astro Lanes, our first tournament event of the season.
Yeah, that match is still fresh in my mind, even though it's almost a year ago.
Well, the young man rolled a 277 to defeat the number 1 seed in that tournament, and that gentleman who was number 1 is none other than Lee Snow.
Mike is a very explosive bowler. If he gets lined up, can literally throw strikes all day. Throws the ball very hard, and at the same time gets a very good roll on the ball.
Dan Ottman had an outstanding collegiate bowling career. National Collegiate Match Game winner of 1978 and 1979. More recently, in 1986, teamed up to win the city doubles in Detroit with host proprietor Ken Hochstein.
That's true.
Of Cherry Hill Lanes.
Member of my team for many years. I bowled with Dan for a number of years. Dan pulled up on that shot a little bit.
Got a bit of a break. Managed to take that 7-pin out of there.
He's a little fidgety right now. He started out kind of loose, but I think he just doesn't trust that left lane. I should say that I don't think we're going to expect a lot of high scores today. This has been basically a very low-scoring tournament. There was no 300 games, and the averages of our finalists are low comparatively. But I think this is the way it should be for our big championships. Oh, no. Mike completely lost that one.
Mike Torsia carrying a 220 average in his league bowling, and he is, as I say, he's not a newcomer to the television lights here with the Michigan Majors. This is his 14th finals, his 4th TV match, and he so far has a 252 TV average with the Michigan Majors.
Well, he didn't do it throwing many gutter balls. Wow, what a terrible frame for him.
So after a spare in the first frame, strikes in the second and third, he, to all appearances, was out to an early lead over his competitor Ottman, and by the fourth frame finds himself
18 down.
18 down so quickly.
That's something that we haven't seen too many of in our telecasts is gutter balls. And Mike picked a very bad chance. I should say, I think Mike is one of the bowlers that we were talking about in the opening that if he wins this tournament will set a winnings record.
Dan Ottman back with a strike of his own in the fifth frame, leading this match now.
This is a very important shot for Dan because he has not made two good shots on the left lane yet. So if he can conquer this lane, then he may be able to roll it up on him. Oh, what a break. Again, he's not comfortable on lane 25. The ball hooked very early, but got the great break on a Brooklyn strike.
Mike Torsia, 28 years old, from Southgate, Michigan. He might mention that to me before the match that would feel good if I might acknowledge the fact that he has been dedicating his participation in bowling events this season, and particularly this tournament, to his recently deceased mother-in-law, his wife, Rita's mother, Betty Tuttle, who passed away in April. And she was a big supporter of Mike's bowling career, and he said he especially dedicates this tournament in her memory. So Mike continues to be troubled after 6 frames following that gutter ball in the 6th and the open frame. He did come back on the other lane rather, with a strike. And
well, he's in an absolute must-strike position right now. He's about 30 pins down, and he's in a lot of trouble. Actually, he's 40 pins down.
So Dan Ottman continues to capitalize on the misfortune of Mike Torsia.
Well, the only question I think in Dan's mind right now, I think he feels this game is in hand, but he knows that he's got to find a way to strike on lane 25 if he's going to continue in this tournament. He's made 3 bad shots on 25, and somewhere along the line, he's got to get comfortable over there. Again, same situation, same result. He is totally confused on that lane, although he's got the brakes and he looks comfortable winning this match, but he knows that Ken Wyatt's next.
There was almost an instant replay of that previous shot on that lane in the 6th frame.
It's very strange that Mike Torsia, his trouble lane is the right lane, and that's the lane that Dan is striking on. Whereas just the opposite for Mike, he's struck every time in the left lane, and Dan hasn't really come close to throwing a good shot yet. Different styles. Well, the best Mike can shoot is 190. And if Dan was to open in the 9th and 10th, would still shoot over 200. So this is a time now that Dan can do a little experimenting, especially on that left lane.
And that's a good lane there in the 9th frame.
Threw a good shot.
As you mentioned, he had all strikes. Well, he did have to convert a 10-pin spare on that same lane in the 1st frame. Well, Mike Torsia came into our television matches averaging 209. Of course, this is not the type of performance that he was.
No, he's not really happy about this.
Turn in.
As I said earlier, it's a very demanding condition. Scores are fairly low. You must execute the shot to score.
So Dan Ottman continues to string him, albeit with a couple of breaks in the 6th and 8th frame where he crossed over to his Brooklyn, but still managed to carry the strike.
He's a little confused right now. You can see it on his face that he's wondering, what do I have to do to get the ball in the pocket on this lane 25? And I think he's a little happy he gets to finish on this lane because he gets an extra shot on it. All right, he put that into play. That's got to help him mentally there a little bit.
And as you mentioned, the winner of this match will advance in the tournament and will meet number 3 seed Ken Wyatt from Southfield, Michigan. Ken, a real veteran of Michigan Majors television finals.
Sure is.
He'll be making his 6th TV appearance. A consistent money winner in the Michigan Majors. I think he's like 7th or 8th on our all-time money list. With over $16,000, close to $16,000 in money winnings in the Michigan Majors. 1989's Bowler of the Year. Mike Torsia has indicated to me in the past that ball speed, maintaining ball speed is probably a very strong part of his game, but if there's an area that gives him concern, he says that his feet tend to get a little fast. And as you, with your critical eye watching this match, did you see any indication of that in this match?
No, Mike does have very fast feet. He takes his very slow first step, and then he kind of gets into a gallop a little bit. But he just never felt comfortable on the right lane and never got the ball to react. I think the gutter ball that he threw in the 4th frame really kind of messed him up in his head a little bit. It kind of put him on his heels, and Dan was able to take advantage of that break. But I think that was the key, is when Mike put that one shot into the gutter, he just opened the floodgates and was not able to recover from that shot.
And so here at Cherry Hill Lanes in Dearborn Heights, in our first television match for this, our 25th championship, Dan Ottman with a commanding win over Mike Torsia. Of course, Dan Ottman will advance now, and coming up in a few moments, our second match featuring Ottman and Ken Wyatt. We'll be right back. At Cherry Hill Lanes in Dearborn Heights, taking his seat on the left of the screen in the blue shirt, Dan Ottman coming into this match having just defeated Mike Torsia from Southgate. And this gentleman is Ken Wyatt, 30 years old, from Southfield, Michigan. His 24th time in Michigan Majors finals.
Something disturbed Ken on that. He took 2 steps and backed off.
Want to mention that both of these bowlers have the potential in this tournament of becoming the leading money winner for 1992 in Michigan Majors competition. Because first place in this tournament pays $3,000. Ken Wyatt comes into this to the finals having already earned over $2,800 in prize money. Should he go on to win the tournament, he not only would be the leading money winner for 1992, he would set a record.
That's true.
For yearly money earnings. A record presently held by Paul Grouser, who earned $5,590 in a single year of competition.
I think Ken Wyatt did something very smart. I believe by making Dan will be finishing on lane 25. And Ken had the choice, and I think he recognized that Dan was having problems with the left lane, so he in fact made him finish on lane 25.
This tournament dedicated to Ken Charette, Executive Director of the Michigan Majors, sometimes referred to as the father of the Michigan Majors.
Oh, definitely.
And there is Ken on the screen right now.
Dan was asking for a re-rack, and according to our rules, Ken is the only person who can award that re-rack. Without Ken, there would be no 25th year of the Michigan Majors. We would not be viewing this show. Things would be dramatically different. Well, I think the 10th frame in that last game gave Dan a chance to do a little experimenting without being under pressure. And it allowed him to find the stroke that he needs to conquer lane 25. That was his best shot right there. There's the second gutter ball that we've seen today.
Sixth frame of last game. Mike Torsia threw a gutter ball. Ken Wyatt.
I can't believe that we've seen it twice now.
Ken Wyatt has 4 titles.
But he makes that spare. It's a tough spare.
There was an important recovery, certainly, to your mental game, to be able to come back and convert the spare. Last game, Mike Torsia was not able to do that in the 6th frame.
Ken kind of leaned that one out over the gutter, too. I don't know what the problem is, if he's throwing the ball too hard or his feet are too fast or what, but he seems to be really intent on throwing the ball hard right.
He had a big year in 1989 with the Michigan Majors. Was the bowler of the year. Made 8 finals in 1989.
That's incredible, Larry. Making 8 finals, it's very, very difficult to get into the top 12 in the Michigan Majors because of what you have to go through against such a large field, and then having to win a 2-game match, and to do that 8 times is just an incredible year. Oh, Dan thought he lost that one to the right. Got a little late reaction with the ball and got the mixing that he needed. What a break, and he knows it too. Look at his face.
Dan, who has most recently become associated with Friendly Bonanza Lanes. Warren, the co-manager out there. But bowling is Dan's life. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's it's always been. Organizer, promoter. And there's the mistake.
If you have just joined us for the second match, Lee has been alluding to the difficulties that Dan had on that lane in the previous match. Although he carried strikes on the lane, he was going high over to the Brooklyn, got a break, carried the strikes, and in lieu of the fact that his opponent was having a very, very difficult time and a very low score going into the 10th, Lee had mentioned that Dan had an opportunity to kind of use that 10th frame to get readjusted on that lane.
Well, what Dan has now done is open the door for Ken Wyatt, and when it looked as though he was going along rather freelancing, is now back in the match. So if Ken was to strike here, the match would suddenly be down to only 8 pins. It's 18 pins right now.
Ken's parents, Joe and Juanita, started him bowling when he was just a youngster at age 9.
Ooh, a fast 8. Threw a pretty good shot. Ball came very strong into the pocket, and the 2-pin flew actually right over the top of the 4 and the 7.
He won back-to-back titles at Galaxy Fairlands in 1990 and 1991, and he won the Continental this season, 1992 Michigan Majors Continental title. Of course, this title means so much to the bowlers to win the annual championship.
This is a big one. Now that time the ball did not react. I think Dan's lost his the edge that he had earlier. Maybe it's the pressure, maybe it's a lot of different things, but he is not as crisp as what he was earlier.
The difficulty he had in the 4th frame, and then staring at 3 pins now on the 5th, has to do something, has the potential of eroding your confidence, even though he has a lead in the match.
Wow. Jeez. He really threw that ball bad, and he knew it, and just got a tremendous break. I think right now he's wishing this match was over.
Well, of any of the bowlers in the Michigan Majors who would be staring at that type of a spare to convert, I suppose one of the gentlemen that you'd be betting your money on if you were a betting man to convert a spare like that would be Dan Ottman.
Well, he's a great
tremendous spare shooter.
Yeah, he sure is. I've watched him shoot spares for a number of years, and he's just one of the best around at shooting spares. Very important time in the match here for Ken Wyatt.
Big strike of the 6th frame for Ken Wyatt to keep this an 18-pin match.
This seems to be the key lane for both bowlers right now, is the left lane. Ken has not struck on that lane yet.
Ken looks up to Mark Roth in the pro ranks, although Ken, unlike Mark, is not one to be twisting the cover off the ball.
No, he's a very straight player compared to Mark Roth, but I'm sure he marvels at Mark's consistency through the years, and that's what Ken Wyatt has done. He's been a consistent casher, consistent finalist, and a very consistent TV player. But again, the left lane, it apparently is hooking very early and is causing a lot of shots to go wide, or go high, I should say.
Our annual trip to Dearborn Heights to Cherry Hill Lanes, always a cause for celebration, always the occasion of a championship tournament. This year, particularly so, the silver anniversary edition of this prestigious tournament.
Unbelievable. I see Dan apparently has lost the lane that he was comfortable on. You were alluding to that. We have 4 new members into the Hall of Fame this year that were inducted last night. John Bennett and Larry Walker in the regular category, and then Tony Lacano and Pat Iannucci in the veterans category. All very deserving people. Oh! Dan made a great shot at that spare, just not able to get it. One other award that we should bring out, the Bob Garrett Sportsmanship Award, was won by Ron Grutch, who is a champion also, and one of the great gentlemen in the association. Dan really needs to get on.
Big strike for Dan Ottman. Had to have that here in the 8th frame, as this match now has tightened up.
6-pin match. Dan Ottman still has the lead, but he has now suddenly started to hit the lane that was giving him trouble, and he's lost the lane that he felt comfortable on. It is amazing how that happens, but due to lights and the balls, the oil moves around.
Ken Wyatt answering back with a strike in the 8th frame. A 6-pin match. The championship at Cherry Hill Lanes. Next month, we will be at Thunderbowl Arena in Allen Park for our annual Tournament of Champions.
Must be a title holder to be eligible, and only 60 people will be eligible to bowl. It'll be a very, very great field. And there it is, that left lane. I can't say it enough. It has a tendency to hook early, and the ball just shot high on Ken and is left with a wide open split, and really the most difficult of times.
And so now,
well, the best that Wyatt can shoot is 185. So if Dan Ottman is right now going at a 193 clip, if he simply gets 2 marks, he's the winner. I'm sure he'd like to throw this strike right here and just end it. He threw that ball much better.
big strike for Dan Ottman in the 9th frame.
I think it was a matter of just simply executing. I don't think he really lost track of the lane. What he lost track of was maybe his execution of the shot. That one he was very crisp on and just made a quality shot.
So Dan Ottman staying alive here in the second of our 4 television matches to determine the 1992 championship. Number 2 seed, Jeff DeCover, standing in the wings, awaiting the outcome of this match.
Well, that's a winner right there. Dan didn't throw a very good shot, but even if he misses it, he will advance. And he has won our second match. And we'll go on to meet Jeff DeCover from Grand Rapids, who throws one of the strong balls in the association. He is a kind of run and gun, flame it type person.
I mentioned the honors that individuals who had distinguished themselves in the Michigan Majors, new inductees into the Hall of Fame, some other honors yet to be determined. Bowler of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and leading money winner. Because Dan Ottman, as he advances now in the finals, Dan, although he has only yearly winnings of $820, if he manages to win the tournament and that first place prize of $3,000, he could in fact turn out to be the 1992 leading money winner. He would not break the record, though, held by Paul Grouser of $5,590 won in a season.
Well, Ken Wyatt he'll cash a check for $1,000 in this match, and it would give him 38.10. So if Dan was to go on and win, he would have 38.20. So that would just sneak him by Ken Wyatt by $10.
Ken Wyatt from Southfield, the computer analyst with EDS, finishing out his 10th frame. Fellow who's had a very distinguished bowling career since he started bowling at age 21. He's distinguished himself in many regional events, and as we mentioned, he's had 4 titles. The last of those 4 titles won at Continental with the Michigan Majors this season. And so our championship matches will continue when we return to Cherry Hill Lanes in Dearborn Heights. Don't go away.
By the Expressway Classic, Michigan's newest doubles tournament with a $3,000 first prize. Contact Michigan Majors Hall of Famer Bob Goyke at area code 313-697-9170 at Lodge Lanes in Belleville for your squad time. Good afternoon, bowling fans. Dan Ottman here with the holiday edition of the Michigan Bowling News. I'm pleased to have as my guest today the very familiar face in the Michigan Majors Bowling Association, actually the father of the Michigan Majors, Ken Charette. Ken, welcome.
Thank you, Dan. It's a pleasure being here.
As we're taping the show just before the Final Five, this man's been very busy this weekend, what with the championship tournament and our banquet. A brief synopsis of the 1992 season.
Okay, Dan, it's been an excellent season. We did not have a 2-time winner this year. We paid out a record $132,100. There have been a record 15 people who win $2,000 and 7 possibly to win over $3,000. And Rookie of the Year and Bowler of the Year race is very tight between Nick Wissinger, Paul Grouser, and Nunzio Marino for the Bowler of the Year, and Neville Kirby and Nick Reese in the Rookie of the Year. So it's been a very exciting thing. And I'd like to congratulate you, Dan, on making the Final Five. And that's what I said when I said possible $3,000. So if you happen to win this tournament, we could have 7 $3,000.
That would be something. As I lost to Kurt Pilon at the tournament at Monitor, when I did the taping of the Michigan Bowling News afterwards, I said I would be back. I didn't think it'd be this quick, but we're going to give it our best shot today. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
The championship banquet held last night at the Browns Wheel in Dearborn. A very nice affair, as it always is, and highlighted with our Hall of Fame inductions.
Yes, it is, Dan, and we inducted 4 people into the Hall of Fame, as you know, John Bennett, Tony McConnell, Larry Walker, and, my goodness,
Pat Iannucci.
Pat Iannucci. Holy cow, sorry, Pat.
I know that one because I did that one.
Right.
And the traditional shirt presentation to last year's champion.
Mark Moore, yes, and Larry Walker presented that shirt to Mark Moore, who at that time was one of our youngest winners at 20 years old, winning that title.
Bob Garrett was at the banquet last night, who's our president of the Michigan Majors for 14 years, presented the Sportsmanship Award, which is in his name.
Right, correct. And that Sportsmanship Award is presented to those who have most congeniality, neatness, and showing the most sportsmanship for our membership, and that was Ron Grunch, who did show all these qualities throughout the year.
Something about Ron Grunch, he lives up in Boyne City, so those of you that live up in the far northern part of the state, you can still be involved with the Michigan Majors Bowling Association. You just need to contact Ken at area code 313-775-2414, and he'll get you everything you need to know about the Michigan Majors Bowling Association. 1993 coming up. Starting
Yes.
out, we have the championship tournament coming up next month at Thunderbolt, but then we go on to 1993.
Correct. We start out on January 9th and 10th at Astro Lanes for our first tournament, and then our second tournament will be February 20th and 21st, and that'll be at Friendly X Sterling.
So, again, you want to get involved. This is the time to do it. You open up the season in January and February, and these tournaments are generally the two largest tournaments of the year.
Yes, they are. So you better get your entries in quickly because they fill up fast. There's no question about it. X Sterling and Astro the last 2 years have been shut right out.
Good. Also, tournaments that have happened or are going to be happening, with the Steve Kushan Memorial Doubles Tournament, which was held at Shorecrest Lanes in St. Clair Shores. Once again, a great affair. 32 two-man teams got together and raised a lot of money for the Michigan Cancer Foundation and the Bowling Hall of Fame.
Sure did. This year we raised $14,000. This is a one-day tournament now, mind you, and only 64 bowlers. It is a great thing, and they'll be sent to, half of it goes to the Michigan Cancer Fund, and the other half is sent to the ABC Hall of Fame in the name of Steve Kushan. So it is a great event.
This year's winners, Pat Iannucci proved that he can still throw that bowling ball.
He sure did. Him and Mike Lucenti teamed up, and they had an excellent outing.
They beat Ed Derone and Tony DeDepo in the championship tilt, 483 to 456. And Gene Stuss, who is Senior Tour Player of the Year and two-time champion in this event, had a little rougher time this year.
Yes, he did. And Ed Kopecki is extremely upset with him because Ed says, I'm finally going to win one because I'm being teamed up with Gene Stuss, who had won the previous 2 years. But no, they did not fare too well.
Yeah. The Detroit City Masters is also coming up, and Ken's also involved with that among his many projects. If you think I'm busy, you got to see this guy. Coming up at Liberty Bowl in Roseville on the first weekend of competition, January 16th and 17th. The format?
The format is they have 192 bowlers, and they bowl 2 4-game blocks, 8-game qualifying, and then the top 31 go along with the last year's champion, who happens to be my teammate, Quentin Green, and the 32 return the following weekend. They bowl Friday, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, and they bowl 4-game matches. You need 2 losses to be eliminated.
And it's a long tournament, particularly if you lose early. With 4-game matches, in order for you to get to that championship tilt, you got to bowl a lot of games on Saturday. You just keep going and going and going.
Yes, and it is, if you get in that loser's bracket quick, you got to bowl 24 games in one day, so it is not exactly an easy task. We
have the over... How much money has the Michigan Majors given away in 26 years?
Oh, God, I didn't tell you it. We've got $1,800,000 at least in 26 years.
Wow.
So, wow. Yes, we're nearing the 2 million mark.
And average entries over 200 again?
Yes, we averaged over 210 a tournament again, Dan. So it's been an excellent year. As I say, paying out a record $132,000 is not bad.
You've heard Ken mention earlier about the Rookies of the Year. Novella, Kirby, and Nick Reese. Novella's from Saginaw, Nick's from Lansing. They're former members of the Michigan Junior Masters Association, and they've gone on to the Michigan Majors, and we've provided that tie-in to the Michigan Majors. And the last couple tournaments winners we've had in the MJMA have been, the last tournament we had at Bull One Lanes in Troy was on the boys' side, Damon Zossenbreaker from the Flint area, and on the girls' side, Lisa Bishop from Belleville, who won her 20th tournament. So the next regular MJMA tournament is going to be held on January 2nd and 3rd at Airway Lanes in Kalamazoo. Ken, it's the holiday season. It's time to get out of the Final 5, and let's see if I can pull a miracle.
Well, good luck to you, Dan. I'd like to wish everybody a happy holidays and a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year to everyone.
I echo those sentiments. So let's get back to Cherry Hill Lanes, and let's see what happens in our Final 5. Here now are our hosts, Larry O'Brien and Lee Snow.
The veteran Dan Ottman on the left of your screen, continuing to advance in our championship tournament at Cherry Hill Lanes in Dearborn Heights. Dan Ottman in his first match today defeated number 5 Mike Torsia. Came back with another victory against number 3 seed Ken Wyatt. And now he is up against a 21-year-old from Grand Rapids. I might say a protege of Dan Ottman's from the Michigan Junior Masters Association.
And And there's the
Jeff?
same reaction that everybody else has been getting on that left lane, is early hook through the nose. And so Jeff is going to have to deal with that now also.
Dan Ottman has had such an influence on the young bowlers around the state of Michigan from his role in leading the Michigan Junior Masters Association. And it's kind of interesting to note that in Dan Ottman's first television appearance with us in September of this year at Monitor Lanes in Bay City, the young gentleman who defeated him on television was that young phenomenon from the Junior Masters, making his debut in the Michigan Majors, young Kurt Pilon. Who, I mean, really gives a lot of credit to Dan Ottman. Kurt Pilon does for the influence and the guiding role that Dan has played. And now Dan Ottman here on television at Cherry Hill Lanes finds himself in kind of an identical situation with this young competitor, Jeff DeCubbard.
Well, Dan's led a lot of the younger bowlers that we're seeing now. And it's really been a kind of a pleasure to watch some of the young talent come up through his organization, come into the Michigan Majors, and be successful like they've been. It's a tribute to Dan. It's a tribute to the kids also, as hard as they've worked to get where they're at. But a lot of that work ethic comes from Dan and encouraging these young men to get out and try to improve their game. As you can see, Jeff DeCubbard leaves nothing behind when he bowls. It is all out, throw it as hard as you can, and turn it as hard as you can.
Well, at 21 years old, he's in his third season competing with the Michigan Majors. He's made the finals 5 times now. The 4th time this year to make the finals. And quite an awesome young talent, particularly with the reputation he has established on the western side of the state. Bowling in league, Fairlanes of Granville. Believe it or not, he averaged last season, for the entire season in his league bowling there, 243.
Well, the way he throws the ball, if he can get it in the pocket, it's a strike. And he has conquered that lane. He's a very emotional young man. He, like I say, he leaves nothing in the bag when he bowls. You know what his outcome is and his emotions on every shot. And Dan, once again, getting slow. Did not execute that shot very well at all.
$15,400 championship tournament. First place paying $3,000, $2,000 in prize money going to the runner-up, $1,500 third place money, 4th place paid $1,000, 5th place paid $800. 174 entries in our tournament this weekend. We're now down to the final 3 bowlers.
You got a break there. Trying to set it down short. But now, for the first time today, he's really found himself behind. He's only 14 behind at this point, but you don't want to give Mr. DeCubbard too much of a room. Jeff actually led the average in the finals. He averaged 217, and the next highest average was 211, but he ended up winning a couple less games than what the leader did. When he throws it, you never know when it's over. Pins are always flying from everywhere.
Well, at just 21 years of age, Jeff DeCubbard has already established himself as someone to contend with in PBA regional events, and understand he's also cashed 2 or 3 times on the PBA National Tour.
Very good record in the PBA. No, it went into the gutter, and even though the ball came out of the gutter to hit the 10 pin, it is not recorded as a spare.
So Dan Ottman, opening in the third frame, failing to convert that split, getting a bit of a reprieve from his competitor to cover here in the fourth frame. To cover, leaving the fourth frame open.
Just an amazing. I just wonder how these kids do it. My body hurts just watching them throw. Very important shot for Dan here.
Big strike for Dan Ottman in the fifth frame to follow up that strike in the fourth. Kind of interesting to know, both of these bowlers, among their interests, are avid pro wrestling fans. Try to picture the two of these fellows in the ring together.
It might be a little mismatch. Jeff can't weigh more than 125 pounds, I don't think. Same way. I think Dan has gotten very, very careful here. He's not aggressive as he was early in the day, and he's just gotten too careful here. On a demanding condition, you cannot relax. You must be aggressive all the time.
Well, it may well turn out that his spare shooting expertise is what will carry the day for Dan Ottman.
If it continues to go in a spare shooting contest, Dan should prevail. But if Jeff DeCover can find a piece of the pocket, he will carry strikes.
Boy, sent the messenger, but it didn't do the job.
The exact same shot as last time. Sent the messenger, and just didn't connect with it. You know, we've seen some power players in the past, you know, like Nick Wissinger and Ed Karwinski, but this kid may even throw it harder and turn it more than those guys. Maybe he doesn't have the refinement yet, but when he learns to control it a little better, there may be no stopping this young man.
Of course, the speed is even exaggerated as we watch this match on television, comparing it with the speed of Dan Ottman's ball.
Yeah. So we have a 5-pin match here, and really Jeff has got a couple bad breaks. He's bowled a very good game so far, hitting the pocket on the last 5 shots.
Jeff would have us pass along greetings to his mom, Susan, who is tuned in and watching this match today from their home in Grand Rapids. Jeff is employed with Ample Plastic Products. And as we mentioned, a tough competitor in his league bowling at Fairlanes of Granville.
Just not much to say about it. I mean, has not made a really bad shot other than the first frame. It looks very, very comfortable in front of the cameras.
I don't know what the lean angle was on that.
Well, I'll tell you, Dan has just lost his aggressiveness here. He's just not going through the ball very well. And he is now to the point where he has to make it happen.
From the downriver area of Detroit, 51-year-old Lou Ivancic leads this tournament. He is the #1 seed, and he is the bowler that one of these gentlemen will have to face before laying claim to the title. the 1992 Michigan Majors Championship at Cherry Hill Lanes in Dearborn Heights. This young gentleman, Jeff DeCover from Grand Rapids, the size of him, and yet he puts that ball down the lane with the speed and power of a Mac Ivory from Inkster, Michigan.
Yes, very much so. This is a must strike for him. Oh, I mean, when this young man throws the ball, there are pins flying all over the place. And he's just got some terrible breaks, or else he'd be leading this match by a distance. He's left 2 10-pins that he had sent messengers at, and now he leaves a 4-pin that pins are just narrowly missing. It's an exciting young man to watch, I'll tell you.
Young gentleman has bowled 18 perfect games with a high series of 839. His 4th time to make the finals in the Michigan Majors event this year. His 5th finals overall.
Well, this is very much a must strike for him. If he strikes out, he can shoot 217. Dan is going at a 212 pace right now, so he needs to throw this strike to maybe have a chance to win this game.
Well, with the speed and the power that he delivers that ball into the pocket, and as you mentioned, the number of messengers that have been sent and have not delivered for him. On the other hand, Dan Ottman, who has particularly on lane 25, crossed over to the Brooklyn, has gotten the breaks that this young man has not gotten.
Yeah, this is bowling can be a very cruel game at times. And so the situation is this. Dan is going, as I said earlier, to 212 pace. So if Dan can step up and get 2 marks in the 9th and 10th, he should be able to win this match. This strike here is the match for him, and he's going to work to get this one. Oh, solid 10-pin. Good shot by him. He knew it. He wanted it. And now his spare shooting is going to come to the forefront here, because even though it didn't lock up the match, if he gets a spare here and a spare in the 10th, he goes on to face Lou Ivanchik, who is, ironically, they're teammates together in the All-Star League as my teammates. So I really can't show much of a favoritism in that if Dan goes on.
Well, Dan taking a look up at the official scoreboard. Well, a moment ago, he walked out of camera range, walked almost down to lane 32, but wasn't able to walk that 10-pin down. But he made handiwork of the spare and continues to lead this match and has a wonderful opportunity to advance to the title match.
Strike, and he's in. Oh, what a great shot by Dan Ottman. Maybe the best shot of the day. If you notice the aggressiveness behind that shot, he wasn't soft coming through the ball. And I think that's a little experience right there, because I think he knew, he could sense that he just wasn't aggressive enough. And now you see him throw to the middle of the lane, not really interested in trying to get a strike, just trying to keep the ball in the lane to get some pins. And that 8 that he got will be enough to advance him. He did not want to throw a gutter ball.
And as unusual as those gutter balls are at this level of competition, we've seen a couple of them on television here today. Larry O'Brien and Lee Snow bringing you the 25th Annual Championship Tournament for the Michigan Majors. And those of you who are consistently high scorers in your league bowling from around the state of Michigan, we ask you to pay particular attention to the announcements throughout these telecasts that invite you to become a part of the camaraderie and competition that makes the Michigan Majors one of the finest associations of its type in the country. particularly for young bowlers who have aspirations of bowling on the Pro Tour someday. This is the place to test your mettle.
This is where you get your start. This is where you find out what kind of bowler you are. If you can beat these players, then you got a shot at it. But you got to come out and prove you can beat these guys.
So young Jeff DeCover from Grand Rapids, Michigan, a bowler that I'm sure we'll see a lot more of, even in our television finals, congratulating his mentor, as we say, the guiding force of the Michigan Junior Masters, a member of the board of directors, and an excited Dan Ottman, very enthusiastic, excited to make the television finals today.
Yeah, he wants this very, very badly.
We are at Cherry Hill Lanes in Dearborn Heights. Coming up, our title match with Lou Ivansick and Dan Ottman. We'll be back in a moment. On the right, Dan Ottman. On the left, Lou Ivansick. Two veterans of Michigan Majors competition. Both of them are members of the board of directors of this fine association. And maybe it's fitting that that's how it comes down for this final match at Cherry Hill Lanes in Dearborn Heights, the match to determine the 1992 championship, because this is our silver anniversary edition of this prestigious event. And in more recent years, so many of our tournaments dominated by younger bowlers. A lot of the young crankers who, as you say, sometimes twist the cover off the ball and become awesome if they get into a groove with their striking power. And here we have a couple of the bowlers from perhaps the older school of bowling.
Yeah, very much so. In fact, Lou Ivansick is turned 50 and will join the PBA Senior Tour. And as I said earlier, I really can show no favoritism in this match because they're both teammates of mine, and I'm very happy to see both of them doing well.
Lou is such a big part of bowling, the sport of bowling in the metropolitan Detroit area. Makes his home downriver. As I mentioned, a member of the board of directors for Michigan Majors, also on the board of the Greater Detroit Bowling Association, and on the committee with the Old Timers Association.
Now, Dan's very fortunate that he only has the 7-pin to shoot out there. Ball kind of hung on his thumb, it looked like, and skid down the lane a little farther than he wanted to. Well, Dan's spare shooting today has been good, but it's been shaky. He's narrowly missed several spares, but has got him so far. And I think that's a sign of what the pressure can do to an individual in this situation. This is our most prestigious tournament, and both bowlers want this very bad. Lou Ivansick more than Dan probably, because it'll get him into that championship tournament. Lou has never won before. Oh,
tough break for Dan Ottman here in the third frame. Dan coming into the finals, seated number 4. This is his 4th match under the television lights on this pair of lanes, and as he comes into this, the final match, he's averaging 217 on the pair.
Well, he's dug himself a hole here, and Lou has come out very, very strong, to throwing 2 quality shots in his first TV appearance, and for 2 strikes. And so he has a quick 24-pin lead. Lou's carried that hit all day. I've watched him bowl several games, and that's the shot that got him into the finals today. Coming in light, being able to carry that. Not so fortunate this time.
Lou in his 20th year competing in the Michigan Majors, looking for his first title.
Note was just handed to me by the Executive Secretary, Ken Charette, that Lou Ivanchik, although he is 50 years old, is not the oldest person to ever win this tournament. Lou Haydu won it when he was 56 years old.
Something worth noting, too, that among our 5 finalists today, 3 of the bowlers distinguished themselves very recently in the Steve Kushan Memorial Pro-Am Tournament event that was recently held at Shorecrest Lanes in St. Clair Shores. Lou Ivanchik, Ken Wyatt, and Dan Ottman.
Oh, no.
So after strikes in the first and second, a spare in the third, Lou Ivanchik is open now in the 4th frame. Letting the door open for Dan Ottman to get back into this match. Dan having opened in the 3rd frame.
It's Dan cannot lay back. He has to get aggressive. And that looked like a much more aggressive shot right there. And you can see by the results. You can see it's a lot like a golf swing, that you need to accelerate at the point of impact when you hit the golf ball. Bowling is the same thing. You need to accelerate at the point of release. If you hold back, that's when mistakes happen. And Dan accelerated through that shot very well. Very important situation for him. Needs to get that double.
Mentioned that Ivanchik, Ken Wyatt, and Dan Ottman in that order topped the individual pro scores in that Pro-Am charity event held in honor of the late Stephen D. Kushan, former Bowlers Digest publishers, a charity event that raised some $14,000 for part of which went to the Michigan Cancer Foundation, and some of that money to the National Bowling Hall of Fame and Museum in St. Louis.
Very worthy cause. I also participated, and an honor to do so. Oh, Lou has thrown some really good shots and has not had a lot to show for it right here. As you can see, he throws the ball very straight, which only goes to prove that there's nowhere is it written that you must hook the ball a lot to lead a tournament. And Lou has just bowled terrific all day long, all tournament long. Comes back smiling. A little shaky there.
Well, after 5 frames, Lou Ivanchik with an 11-pin lead in this, our title match, for first place prize money of $3,000. Lou and his wife Burl make their home in downriver Detroit with their family, Cheryl Ann, Mark, Matthew, Tina Marie, and Chris and Tracy.
Oh, Lou is a little bit suddenly off balance, and it affected that shot there. He got a little bit fast, maybe. Swing came away from his body and caused it to pull. Left with a baby split, and a very important baby split. Oh, no. Well, he has gone from leading this match by 20-some pins to now trailing actually by 2. Dan again looking for a re-rack as Ken Charette had to come out.
Well, you didn't think I would let the entire telecast go by without inquiring as to how you performed this weekend, Lee. I mentioned to our viewers that my partner here, Lee Snow, is, besides being involved in the broadcast part of the tournaments, is always a competitor.
Well, I picked up a check this week. Was not able to carry as well as I would have liked, but bowled okay and missed the semis by about 30 pins. So a little disappointed that I didn't do a little better, but it's been a good year for me. Bowling has come back to me a little bit, and I'm looking forward to next year. Looking forward to December. This shot, very important for Dan Ottman. Oh, off the wall. Now that's about anybody who knows Dan Ottman knows that he's not the most emotional guy in the world, but he let out a scream there. Must strike for Lou. Oh, he got it. Wow.
That 10-pin getting a delayed hit from the 6.
Yeah, it was a little bit light in the pocket, but got the little love tap to knock that 10 out. And we still have ourselves a match as the game is now 12 pins. Lou can take it back to 2 with a strike here. He rolled that well. Yeah, that's the shot. It's the shot that got him here right there.
So the bowling fans here at Cherry Hill Lanes and Dearborn Heights getting into it now as we come into the final frames of the title match with Dan Ottman from Troy and Lou Ivancic from Detroit.
Oh, quality shot again. I think the match is on, Larry. This is an exciting finish to this match. 2 teammates going at each other, 2 board members going at each other, and it's just great.
So Dan Ottman with a triple now on the board.
12-pin lead, really wants to take this to 22 and give himself that chance in the 10th. No. And there's the baby split. Exactly the same thing that Lou did.
It's that lane 25.
Yep.
And in earlier matches were several times he crossed over to the Brooklyn, and in his first match particularly managed to get a break, carrying strikes on a couple of occasions when he got over into that territory.
Well, there's the shot of the day as far as I'm concerned. Dan making that baby split has now give himself a chance to win. Lou can actually strike out and end this tournament right now. But if he does not strike on one of the next 3 balls, Dan still has a chance to win. Rolled that very well. We have a dead even match right now. Dead even.
Lou Ivancic looking for his first Michigan Majors title after 20 years of competition in this association. He has finished second. That's been his best finish. It's his 12th time making the finals. The 1990 ABC team event, the Fairborn Singles, Moose State All Events, the Auto Bowl among his past bowling accomplishments.
Means nothing now. This is the shot that means everything to him. Oh. Wow. This is, I mean, just an incredible match. 1 pin difference right now. Dan Ottman having the advantage by 1 pin. So it comes down, Larry, that we possibly could see that tie game. Lou must make this spare. He missed it earlier. And this time he got it. Now, the count ball for Lou is extremely important. He needs a strike, because if he strikes, that means that Dan is going to have to throw a strike on his first shot to win the tournament. So count is incredibly important on this ball. Anything less than a strike will hurt him. No, he went high. Oh, no. Not a 7 count. Once again, Dan is asking for the re-rack. And the situation is this. If Dan throws a strike on the first ball, he's going to be our champion. If he does not strike on the first ball, he's going to have to make some kind of spare and then get a count. It's been a while since he's been in this position.
He's been competing for 13 years in the Michigan Majors. He won one title, and that was Nortel in 1983. He's made the finals 14 times. He finally made the television finals a month or two ago when we were at Monitor Lanes in Bay City.
This for the tournament. A strike, he's the winner. Oh man. You can see that he's...
he glances up at the scorecard. I don't know whether he's
asking Ken Charette what he needs. He wants to make sure. He needs 7 pins on 2 balls to win. This will be probably a shot down the middle. Yep, it's exactly what it was. There's our champion.
Although he was not particularly thrilled with his performance on his previous TV match, he was so pumped having made the television finals that he told me earlier today. He said, you know, having made it that one time to TV, he said it was such a great feeling. He said that I just knew. He said I was going to have to make it again. He said it just pumps. He was just so pumped up. He said to take it to another level and to get back on television again. And what a prestigious event to win, to add to his previous title. Very emotional, Dan.
Yeah, you can see some tears in Dan's eyes, and I know what it means to him to be in the situation. And I feel very sorry for Lou because he bowled so terrific all week long. And there should be no loser here, but just a great match, and I can't wait to talk to him.
He's a big fellow with a big heart, and this tournament meant everything to him. So I'm going to let you join your friend and your bowling partners.
That's true.
You fellows have bowled together for years down on the lanes for the presentation. Don't go away. We'll be right back at Cherry Hill Lanes in Dearborn Heights.
And welcome back. I'm Lee Snow, and to my right, our newest champion, Mr. Dan Ottman, and a very emotional Dan Ottman. I've never seen him quite like this. Frankly, I'm just going to ask you one very simple question right now. What does this tournament mean to you?
Well, the championship tournament is the most prestigious tournament in the Michigan Majors, and the win, the 25th one, dedicated to a friend, Ken Charette, and to perform finally in front of a friendly crowd here at Cherry Hill, it's the biggest win of my life.
Well, I had kind of mixed emotions on this championship game, as the viewers I alluded to earlier. You and Lou both being my teammates and very good friends. Somebody had to win, somebody had to lose, but I think a lot of credit has to go to Lou Ivanchik for a dramatic tournament.
Absolutely. Lou drove bowled tremendous yesterday and today, and he said one for the older guys. Lou is one of the strongest competitors you're going to find in this town, and it's a pleasure to bowl with him. And you know, if I lost, that was great. If I won, it was great. So
it was a very tough match for me, and even tougher for you, I'm sure.
Boy.
But I think let's go back to a match earlier than that, to Jeff DeCover, who was one of your MJMA players. These bowlers that are coming out of your association are more and more frequent every month. I think it's a tremendous thing for you, for what you've done to the junior bowlers in the state of Michigan, to bring this kind of talent up into the Michigan Majors and perform.
Well, I thank you for that. Jeff bowled with us in a couple of our early years, and he's moved on to the PBA membership now. And Jeff's a strong player, and boy, turns it up real good. And he got he caught a couple bad breaks in that match against me. I was fortunate to get out of that one. You bring up the MJMA. I look back at the banners back here, and I see on the lanes that we're on Dale Hoffmeister, who won the tournament in '88. And then last year, Mark Moore did the same thing I just did, won all 4 matches. And kids, just to let you know, I can still throw 4 when I need to.
Yes, he can still bowl. I'll attest to that. But I think more importantly now, we've got some hardware and a check waiting out in the wings here.
Oh boy.
Our host, manager, proprietor, DJ Hochstein. DJ, come on in.
Dan, Dan, on behalf of everyone here at Cherry Hill Lanes, I'd like to present to you this championship trophy. Congratulations.
Thank you, DJ. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, DJ. And to my left, a very familiar face from the Stroh Brewery, Mr. Ed Kopecki.
Dan, on behalf of Stroh's Beer and the Michigan Majors Bowling Association, a check for $3,000. You earned it.
Oh, boy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks, DJ. And most of all, thanks, Dan Ottman, for a tremendous tournament, one of the most exciting shows I think that we've ever had. At this time, I'll take it back to Larry.
Today's Michigan Majors Championship Tournament finals were brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh's Light, superior in quality for more than 200 years. And by Metro Staff Nursing Care. For that special kind of caring, there's no place like home. Telecasts of Michigan Majors Tournament Bowling are the exclusive property of Stroh's Michigan Majors Bowling Association with all rights reserved. Any rebroadcast without the expressed written consent of the Michigan Majors is prohibited. And this concludes our championship broadcast from Cherry Hill Lanes in Dearborn Heights. On behalf of Lee Snow and the Michigan Majors, Judy Anderson, our production director, executive producer Ken Charette, and the entire broadcast crew, I'm Larry O'Brien, thanking you for joining us today and inviting you to be with us again next month when we will bring you television coverage of the Michigan Majors Tournament of Champions from Thunderbolt Arena in Allen Park. Until then, goodbye and good bowling, everyone.